Greetings. Welcome back to another unboxing. Well, rather an unbagging. This is from my visit to the Brisbane Record Fair. Yeah, I took my lucky tote bag and definitely got lucky. I only really went to get out of the house and, just have a bit of a browse, not expecting really anything. But I actually did very well. So yeah, it's time to show some spoils of a good day out at the fair. I will start off, I did buy 2 CDs, so I'll just get those over and done with because I know they're not the most important thing for this unbagging. But yeah, it's always nice to get some cool stuff on CD for a good price. Firstly, I went to my good people, I call the Shed people, because they got a shed full of records. Firstly, I got just Janis Joplin's Pearl on CD because I don't have it on LP. I've got a feeling I really like it. I do have the Big Brother and the Holding Company LP with her on. And, I've heard lots of stuff about this over the years. But look, I thought I'd just play it a bit safe, buy it cheap on CD. This is a really nice CD issue. It's in really good condition here. That's just a bit of sort of smudge. But yeah, I just thought I'd get it and sort of road test it on CD because I have seen it on vinyl a fair few times, but it's never been really high on my list. So I thought, hey, $4. I buy it on CD, rip it to MP3, play it in the car and stuff. And look, if I'm really liking this, I will probably one day track it down on vinyl for a decent price. And if not, well, I got a nice copy there. Alrighty, well, I'll talk about the other CD as well that I got from a different vendor right at the end. I just saw this at the end. So I'm sort of going reverse order here. Couldn't pass this up, and it's even cheaper than the list price on the CD because you can't get past a great Blue Note CD issue here, and that's Horace Silver Quintet with Horoscope. This comes from 1960, I believe. This is some great classic Blue Note, early 60s era Blue Note, and really, really nice LP. I don't quite yet have this on LP. It is on a wish list of mine. You can see here it's one of these Rudy Van Gelder editions that came out. And I'll tell you what, I won't open it now, but this thing is pretty damn minty. The CD is like flawless, which is nice. It was only $3, by the way, not $5. It's listed as $5. They were selling all their CDs, this other vendor, for $3. It's a pity I couldn't find more things I wanted because most of the other stuff I had. But yeah, this is a great Blue Note LP with Blue Mitchell on, which is really nice there. And some other fairly well knowns like Junior Cook. Yeah, but it's a great Blue Note affair, originally recorded by Van Gelder and then remastered by him. There you can see in 2005. Yeah, originally issued 1960. So look, $3 for that as a sort of placeholder because I still want this on vinyl. That'd be great to get. And now, without further ado, let's get cracking into the actual vinyl finds. So I'm just going to open up that tricky little bit there. Okay. All right. So I'm going back to the fact that I was at the lovely Shed people, Pat and Chris, and yeah, I got some great things from those guys. Once again, first up, I got a nice jazz LP, a prestige one. Now this is a pre-1965. This is 1964. It is a live date, and one of the artists, I actually don't have any of his stuff until now. And this is like a duo as such with an extended band. But yeah, I was glad to get this. I love my prestige stuff. Yeah, sure, this is a bit earlier than the stuff I really like, the later 60s, early 70s stuff. Nevertheless, these guys have been on my wish list for a while, and that is Eddie Lockjaw Davis and Johnny Griffin. And this is called The First Set, recorded live at Minton's. I believe they have some other ones called like something like the Breakfast Set or something. I don't know, early, something like that. But yeah, this is nice OG Prestige stuff. I did pay the $20 for it, but after I bundled a bunch of things, including that Janis Joplin CD, they did just knock off $4. So really, I'm going to take it off this one because this is the most expensive. So whichever way you look at it, I mean, I can take it off any, but I'm taking off this one because I paid the 20. So I was going to say, I either got the CD for free or I got this for 16, which sounds even nicer. So just a quick squiz on the back of this one. These guys don't grade their LPs totally. Sometimes they'll have a sticker with a grading, that like a coding they understand. But visually, this looks really nice when I looked at it. And here you can see, Junior Mance is on piano, and we've got Ben Riley on drums as well. Not sure about Larry Gowes. Not sure, that name doesn't sound familiar. Looks like we've got Epistrophe. It's Monk's song, isn't it? And I think some of the others might be some stands. I'm pretty sure Well You Need and I'll Remember April might be as well. But anyway, it's looking in great condition on the back here. A little bit of aging wear, but still. That's one of the paste on sleeves, so I don't think it's like a reissue, like an OJC reissue or anything. I don't see anything on that, so I was banking on the fact this is an OG in really nice condition, really solid. Yeah, looking forward to that. And my first Eddie Lockjaw Davis LP. I'm pretty sure I got some later Johnny Griffin 70s. So yeah, that's cool and nice price. All right, let's crack one in here. Okay, the next one I got, this is a bit of a gamble, but it was a really inexpensive gamble. I have seen this before many times, and it's usually inexpensive, but this one was, didn't have to pay post and stuff. It looks in really, really good condition. There might be a reason for that. Maybe it's not a great record, but that's okay. It does come from 1974, so it is pre-1975 from a really respected artist. It's just, I'm not sure about this output here. I'm really hoping for some funky soul here. There might be a little bit of gospel-y tinge stuff in places, but nevertheless, I'm sure I'll get my $9 worth. Well, I'm hoping it was only $9. And that's Billy Preston with The Kids and Me. The Kids and Me. Yeah, 1974. And this is on A&M Records. This is an Australian pressing. That's okay with me. But if you look, it's in really nice condition. Bit of ring wear there. The back is even nicer. Yeah. So let's have a bit of a squiz here. I believe, the song Nothing from Nothing was the single from this LP. I can't tell you much else. I've never streamed this. I've just seen it a lot and been a little bit curious about it. But yeah, look, I'm not expecting way too much for this one, but it should be all right. Hopefully this, I've got a feeling it's just going to be a bit of an inconsistent LP. But hey, for $9, and the vinyl looks like it's in really good condition. It just needs a bit of a clean. I'm sure I'll get some good value out of 1974 Billy Preston. Hopefully I'm not proven wrong at all. Alrighty, let's keep it cracking in here into the lucky tote bag. Oh yeah, that's right. Now this one I'm taking, I will say, a bit of a gamble on. It was $18, so a little bit more. But this is a record I've seen for years and years and years and always pass up. I've known about some of the history of this LP. I've been quite curious about it, but it was never high on my list. However, I was actually just thinking, just prior to going to the record fair this week, I was actually thinking about this album for some reason. I don't know, I might have saw it somewhere that and thought, I really should check that out. And lo and behold, I saw it first up and pretty much went, okay, I'm going to give that a crack. And that is Fat Mattress's debut, self-titled Fat Mattress from a 1969. Now, this is an Australian issue. I think it's an original Australian issue, but it's not in the big fold-out UK original. It's not even in the US pressing gatefold. So I know that. I'm aware of that. But I really bought it just to hear the music because my understanding is this is going to be kind of psych rock / sort of folk rock kind of thing. And of course with Noel Redding from Jimi Hendrix Experience, he was doing I don't know if he officially had left really Experience by this time, but he was starting to wane away from them and branch out and play his preferred guitar rather than bass. I believe that's him right there. But I do know that the English version of this folds out like a big poster fold out, like a 4-panel, and the US one crops this differently. I think the picture and makes it into a gatefold. However, I am a little bit suspicious of the condition the LP is in. I did have a look. It's got some scratches, so particularly I think on one side. So I am taking a bit of a gamble, even though the shed people are usually really reliable. However, I can't begrudge them. It's not graded as such. So I'll give this a go and see what it sounds like. Because apart from that, I can't tell you too much, except I'm pretty sure this is the only main album Noel Redding did. And then I think he played on their second album, but wasn't officially part of that album, like the band, by the time they released that album, something like that. He left pretty quickly, I think. I'm not sure about the whole situation around that. I'm pretty sure he's credited with songs and maybe even playing on the second album, but I don't even think he's pictured on it. But anywho, on this one, he is, and you can see there, it's guitar and vocals, not bass guitar and vocals. We do have Chris Wood on flute, I believe only on one song. I think it might be the opening song. Yeah, you can see the asterisks. If I get my pointer finger out. Which that should be cool. But the cover's in nice condition. I just hope the vinyl holds up too. Especially because I'd be really interested to hear what Noel Redding had to also create around the same time, because I'm pretty sure the only other thing I've heard from him is the track Little Miss Strange on Axis Boulder's Love, the second Experience album that he wrote and sang on. And I actually really like that song. It's a nice sort of funky, psyche sort of thing, but I've got a feeling this will be a bit different. So let's hope the mattress is fat. All right. Getting back to it. Now this one I was so surprised to see, and I was actually very suspicious of, to be honest, when I saw it and I saw the price. That was the thing. I was like, wow. Because this has been on my wish list as such, and my radar, and I know about this and know a lot of the songs on it, and that'll be a great album. And I checked out the vinyl, just sight, and I went, wow, that looks really good. And the cover's really nice too, and that is Otis Redding, the Soul album from 1966. And believe it or not, I even thought, oh, well, this will be one of those dodgy Australian early pressings. And it's not. It is on the Vault Records, a subsidiary of Stax. It was $7. It is a stereo version. It is the OG thing. And it is also, I'm pretty sure it says somewhere down here that it's a US pressing. Yeah, there. Yeah, it's got some foxing, you know. You can see a little bit of the foxing. Nothing too heinous, especially when you're back. I mean, you can see a little bit of that staining there, but the front looks pretty damn clean, and it's solid as. Yeah, so this one, I've since looked at that vinyl, and it is looking great. So I'm really hopeful and confident that with a good cleanup, a good vacuum clean, I've got a great feeling that this is going to come up really nicely. And I just couldn't believe it. $7, and I didn't even have to pay post. So you can see a little bit of sort of speckly wear in places, but it's nothing overpowering. Still looks nice and, you know, from here, nice and crisp. Yeah, so that was a score, and I'm, you know, hoping that that's $7. I mean, you know, that seems like an absolute bargain. All right, moving on. Okay, this next one again was pretty inexpensive. In fact, this was slightly dearer than the awesome Otis Redding US pressing. So yeah, go figure. But I mean, this is an Australian pressing of an album. Hasn't been high on my list. I've been sort of curious about, because it is a soundtrack. But the person who apparently wrote this and produced this, I suppose, was the biggest selling point for me. The artist who actually performs the music, yeah, pretty cool. But I had to give it a look in, particularly because the year is 1974, so it's still early enough. And that is Gladys Knight and the Pips with the original motion picture soundtrack to the movie Claudine, which I've never seen. Yeah, you can see that it's got James L. Jones, pre-Darth Vader voice. But look, I did buy Gladys Knight and Pip's album not long ago, I think from 73. However, I've got a feeling this is going to be nothing like it. This is for a soundtrack, but I'm hoping, as you can see there, nice big letters as well, Curtis Mayfield doing the writing production. I'm hoping that that will translate into some goodness here, even though he's not the performer as such. Now, as I said, this was $8, so still not that expensive. The cover's a little bit of creasing and stuff. I'm not so worried. A little bit of ring wear, but yeah, this is a Australian pressing, so it's on Buddha Records here. I've got a feeling, though, being that it was Curtis Mayfield 1974 production, it would have been Curtin Records originally, with Buddha providing the distribution or something. But hey, I don't really care. It's not high on my list. This is a little bit of a gamble, but it's an inexpensive gamble, really. $8. So yeah, not worried about the origins too much, as long as it sounds decent. Sometimes that's the only thing. Some of these early Australian pressings were not terrific, but sometimes they're okay. They're all right. We've also got arrangements by Richard Tufo, who was a Curtin on the Curtin staple on the roster as such, part of the team. There's only 7 songs, so that'll be interesting to see how much value you get out of 7 songs. But if you look at the first track there, Mr. Welfare Man, that just sounds like a Curtis Mayfield title, doesn't it? The makings of You, though, I'm pretty sure I've got a Curtis Mayfield version of that. So, yeah, there you go. Hopefully there's some cool things on here. On and On sounds like it could be a instrumental in a way. I don't know. Oh, no, it doesn't say instrumental there. Got Claudine things in instrumental. Well, I'm going to guess from the pictures and that there's going to be some sort of sweetness injected into this. And then particularly with Gladys Knight at the helm of vocals. Now, it's probably, taking advantage of her, feminine, more so feminine vocals for this. But that's okay. Maybe some nice sort of soul stuff. 1974. There you go. Claudine. We'll see. Pictures up make me rush out to see the movie. Although I don't know if you can get it anyway. Maybe on Tubi. Something. Maybe on YouTube. Alright, anyway. So that was a nice cheap one. Potential. Now, that's what I got from good old Shed People. Had a look around at my other usual suspects there. Couldn't really find anything. I was okay with it. And then, later on, I went and checked out old mate Vinny, who's been selling there for a couple of years now. And lo and behold, jackpot. I was looking at some of his records, and there was like a sort of a line or two that had a sign there saying, 50% off. And then the next wouldn't have, and the next one would say 50% off. So I'm having a look, I'm trying to find some stuff, saw some decent things around where it didn't say 50% off, and then I talked to his sort of partner in selling, Adam, and he says, everything's 50% off. I went, what? Everything. I was like, okay, I better have another look. And I did, and man, did I get some great stuff. So I'll crack into this. So the prices you will see on the stickers are pre 50% off prices. So it's basically 50% off the sticker. And that's right up until, like, Vinny sells even up to some, like, rarer sort of psych stuff on that. And I tell you, if I was really into that and knew that stuff, I would have looked into that stuff as well. But I stuck to my alley, the things I know about, and look, I got more than enough value. So let's start off with this one. This is a reissue of an LP that is on my list. The original LP comes from 1974, and I've known there's been a reissue out previously. Was reissued a while ago. It has been on my hit list, and I couldn't believe to see it. And that was Blackheat's "No Time to Burn" on Atlantic. And you can see here. Sorry, I've moved, repackaged these just so that the vinyl wouldn't slip out at any time. So the prices you see there, you can see it was originally $40 in the Very Good Plus reissue. That's for the vinyl. So I got it for $20 Australian. And I have had a look at it, and it looks, definitely looks Very Good Plus, maybe even better with the cleanup. And it's also still in the shrink, and it is open shrink, but look, this, it looks great. The cover is fantastic. I will be taking it out of the shrink, but it's even still got the Rhino Scorpio. I think it's Scorpio, Scorpio Records, whatever. The sticker's still on the outer, so couldn't believe it. This is their second album. This band from Washington, DC. Very funky, soulful band. They only had 3 LPs, I believe, between 1970, I'll say 72 maybe, to 75, on a major label, Atlantic, which is really cool. And I've got the other 2. So this completes my run, whichever way, reissue or original. So, I was just like, I couldn't believe it when I saw that, and I thought, okay, $20 in that great condition. So that was a great score to start with from old Vinny. What else did I find? Oh yeah, in a similar sort of vein, almost similar era, a little bit different slant with the music. I've seen this reissue now for a fair few years. Yeah, 5 years or so, I'm not sure. And it hasn't been totally high on my list, so I think it's a bit inconsistent, but it looks really kooky. It's from 1976, the original. This again is a nice reissue, and that is an obscure band called the Ingram Kingdom. The Funk is in Our Music. And yeah, 1976 on this label Excello, I think originally. I've got a feeling this would be also a maybe a Rhino or Scorpio at least reissue. But again, if you look at the price there and the condition, near mint this time, $40. So it was 20. Yeah, 2011 reissue. So the reissue's been out a little while now. Yeah, is this one in shrink? No, I don't think this one is in shrink, but it's looking in just like pretty minty condition. Absolutely. There might be the tiniest bit of something down here, but yeah, you can't even tell, really. I've got a feeling though that these guys, they're funky soul. I've got a feeling, yeah, sorry, they've got a bit of a gospel slant somewhere, but that's sometimes okay as long as it's yeah, funky. But yeah, this will be interesting. I can't remember if I did stream this back in the day. I might have years ago, and I think I was a little bit ambivalent about it, which is why I never pulled the trigger at like a full price. But for $20 in near mint condition all round, maybe I reckon it's been played once, if that. Yeah, $20 for some sort of obscure funky soul from '76. Yeah, any day, especially with that post. Okay, next up from the Vinny half price. Oh, this was okay. This was absolutely just cracking. This one cost a little bit more, but well worth it. It is a reissue again. It is still in open shrink. It's a 2002 reissue, so again, it's getting a bit old, but hey, the original of this was, I believe, 1975, and it's one of those obscure relics that's, you know, it's being sampled, and the original cost a crock a ton. And that is the ninth creation with Bubblegum. And yeah, it's still in the shrink with the 2002 hype sticker from Shoe Records. Shoe or Shoey or something. SHOU. That's the reissue. And I do believe this is an official reissue, like they got the rights or whatever, the licensing or whatever. It was the first time it had been reissued. It might have been reissued since 2002, but at the time, for a 1975 LP, that was pretty damn cool. It gives you a bit of spiel there about who sampled it, and that's of 2002, I believe. So it is a US pressing. Looks really nice. Looks the part. And I believe it's also been remastered by, I forget his name, but he worked for Fantasy Records, so a very experienced mastering engineer. Now, the price I've actually got on the back here, so originally he had it at $45, limit minus, so $22.50. So, you know, almost new, practically, still in open shrink, $22.50 for this. Damn, wow, I was just like, that's so cool. But yeah, they're very funky soul band. You can see big ensemble, lots of horns and stuff, keyboards and percussion and everything. So great year, 1975. Excellent year. And yeah, in that condition, I didn't have to pay an arm and a leg for it. Really looking forward to that one and cleaning that one up. Super cool. So glad that that turned up. Definitely was highish on my wish list or want list. Okay, still going with the Vinny experience. Look, this next one I bought, I already own though. However, I bought it again because I know the one I've got is probably like very good to very good minus condition. It does have some issues. Secondly, it is a really hard album to come across in Australia. I had to buy mine from America and got it imported in, and had to pay a bit for it, and even then it wasn't the best condition. So this one, however, he didn't have graded. But I could see, visually, it's a bit hit and miss. So I don't know a little bit, but the price did it for me, and I thought, well, I'm going to give this a gamble to see if this is a better condition copy than my other one from this awesome guitarist, and that is Wah Watson with Elementary. So yeah, this is from 1976. Herbie Hancock's on this, a lot of other people. It's great stuff. Yeah, and look, you can see the cover has had better days. There is some edge wear pretty much around most this thing, if you look there, but it is actually intact. It's not split. It's just it is just edge. There's a bit of sort of creasing. There's a bit of a sticker tear or scratching here, or actually it looks like someone's put a price in there. They've tried to scratch the price off. There is a name. Thanks, Mr. Schultz. And for giving it up, this LP, You Know Nothing. Should have kept it. Now, if you look at the price now, this is the interesting thing. So originally it had 25 on. Then it had 17. But the thing was, then I got a half price again. So it was $8.50. $8.50 for a Melvin Wah Watson Reagan. I think it was the only, maybe, I'm pretty sure it was like his only solo. Even though he played on everybody's, a lot of people's stuff at the time, and put his signature sort of wah-wah, sort of flanged out or whatever guitar effect stuff on. And there's some really nice stuff on. Yeah, it's a little bit hit and miss, but it's really nice. And yeah, and even if he had another one, this would be the one to probably get. Yeah, with a host of great, some great songs and great musos on here as well. So I'm just hoping that this will clean up quite nicely to give me a second copy that's superior to the first one I got. Yeah, you can see there Herbie Hancock, Bernie Maupin. So we've got the Headhunters, yeah, on here. We've even got Wilton Felder from Jazz Crusaders and Crusaders on bass on the song. You'll even see there we've got James Jamerson, Funk Brothers Motown fame, on a song. What Mr. David T. Walker, who's always great. Dave Grusin, who always turns up on lots of stuff. So yeah, it's the Biz here. Oh, and Ernie Watts. I missed Ernie Watts. Sorry, Ernie. Sonny Burke as well. Oh, Lewis Johnson from Johnson Brothers on bass there. Ray Parker Jr. was doing lots of cool studio work at the time. So sorry, I missed those at first. But anyway, $8.50. Now, I'm pretty sure one side looked worse than another side. One side had more sort of noticeable scratches. They looked a little bit deeper and stuff. I think side one than the other side. So, it might get some mixed results here. However, $8.50, chance to upgrade. The vinyl, not so much the cover. I couldn't not do that for under a tenner. Anyway, let's keep going. Now, this next album, again, I've only come across in very recent history. In fact, if I didn't know about it and didn't check it out beforehand, like in the last couple of months or two, a month or two, I probably would have passed this up. I've heard of the artist, I know of the artist, I've heard some of his other stuff and was never really, that enamored by it. But I came across this LP and actually checked out fairly recently, and I really liked it. And so instantly went on my wish list and into carts and possibilities. And then to see it and in this great condition, I just snapped this up straight away. I got half price for this album with a really cool cover, though, mind you. And this is Paul Horn with Altura do Sol, High Sun. And yeah, that's really striking cover. But look how great condition that is. Now this is, I believe, Australian pressing, but that's okay by me. It looks really nice. We're talking about 1976 here, so hopefully, things have improved pressing-wise in Australia by that time. And this one is jazz, some Latin influence as well, mixed in, and I really enjoyed this Paul Horn record. And here you can see we've got him on horn there. Sorry, not horn. Paul Horn on flute. Well, I'm pretty sure he plays sax as well. I might be wrong with that. But anyway, you can see here we've got, obviously some Latin titles. At least we get the the brackets English anglicized translations, which is nice. But look, yeah, this is really a nice excursion with some Latin influence for 1976. Yes, it's post 75. Originally on Epic there and through CBS. But yeah, this is I can't remember where it says it, but I'm pretty sure this is the Australian press. It might say on the label inside. And again, really nice condition. Hey, it says near mint there. So yeah, it's almost like a brand new thing. And if you look at the cover, I can't see any creasing from there. Look, that where there's actually on the cover, not on the sleeve, not on the cover, which is cool. And as I said, even on the back, there's a little bit of sort of spotting and staining, a little bit, but nothing too heinous there. And again, that ring wear there is not on the actual cover. A little bit up here, but even still, $15 down from 30. 15. So I was really happy about that. Didn't have to pay postage to get it. Yeah. Okay. Kicking along. All right, this one. Look, this in a way was a no-brainer, with a kind of caveat. However, look, this is one of those LPs you know about, you hear about. It's on my list, up high-ish. Always has been. But my only issue as such with buying this was that I have heard that certain reissues of this are not spectacularly sounding. They lack a bit in the fidelity and the quality of the pressing or the mastering or whatever it is. And I knew this is a reissue, so don't get me wrong. I knew for sure, even without reading the fact that the sticker says it. However, given the fact that it's half price and near mint, yeah, I wasn't going to quibble. I was going to I took the gamble. I took the plunge regardless. And that is Roy Ayers with Ubiquity from 1970. Well, the original is. And this is a later reissue. I believe this is probably a Scorpio or whatever reissue. Sorry, they're originally on Polydor. It's great they keep everything looking the same. And it is a US reissue. I'm cognizant of the fact that this might not be the best sounding. However, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford an original. And even if I did, it probably is not going to be near mint anyway. And it's not going to be half of $65 Australian. Which comes down to $32.50. So for $32.50 near mint, practically new in a way. And again, I think that you see a bit of wear here. That's actually on the sleeve. I'll just take that out of the sleeve once so you can see what I mean. Yeah, that's looking very tasty, for sure. In fact, I can't even see really any creasing or anything. Even the corners are nice. So let's turn around and have a look-see on the back, and you see what I mean too. That's just a piece of dust. Yeah, look, nice and shiny. So as a reissue goes, it's looking really nice, you know, visually. And yeah, we're talking about this. I'm pretty sure this is 1970 originally. I just can't see here anywhere on there showing that. But just off the top of my head, I might be wrong. And this is this is before, you know, Roy Ayers' ubiquity kind of as a name of an act or band, by the mid-70s. This is the name of the LP, I believe. And we've got on there Harry Whittaker, who was with him early on electric piano. And I do believe we've also got a couple other notables here. And that is in the form of Alfonso Mouzon on drums. So early days for Mouzon. We've got Juma Santos on conga. We've got Edwin Birdsong collaborating with Roy Ayers early on organ and vocals here. So yeah, some interesting plays. And this is, yeah, where Roy Ayers, I think, was starting to try to branch off and do a different thing. Even though he'd done some kind of cool work in the late 60s and with some cool players. Yeah, but I think this is the sort of divergent point in particular. Yeah, anyway. And I think he was starting to put some effects on his vibes, like some fuzz pedal or something. And you can see there's a song there called The Fuzz, so I've got a feeling that might be to do with that, that effect he's putting on. I might be wrong. Anyway. So, super cool. Look, I'm not going to get too excited about the quality of the sound of the mastering, but being a near mint minus, you know, I should be able to be a little bit more excited about at least the quality of the record, you know, sounding without clicks and pops and stuff. Hopefully, yeah, and it feels like a pretty hefty, look, you know, you can't see, it feels pretty hefty sort of vinyl as well, which is nice. Alrighty, so kicking along, still with Vinny, got a couple other decent ones here. Next up, this stuff has been on my list. I've got 3 or 4 albums from this act, but I believe with this act there was almost like 2 sort of incarnations. I think they sort of mutated a bit. So there's like the early stuff and then the slightly later stuff in the 70s. Nevertheless, I've been wanting to get these at a decent price, and here's one here from, now it's saying 71 on their sticker. I thought it was more like 1972, whichever way, that's negligible. And it's their second LP, and that is The Undisputed Truth with Face to Face with the Truth, produced by Norman Whitfield. Now, originally, yeah, on Tamla Motown here. Well, this is the Australian pressing. So I'm not sure about the US pressing. It was on Gordy or whatever version of Motown, but yeah, it's a Motown production. It's a Norman Whitfield production. And it's, yeah, their second LP. I don't have their first yet. Now, Australian pressing, they're a very good plus, and it does look really nice, the vinyl. So it was $25. So I got it for like $12.50. So for Australian pressing, very good plus condition. I'm really happy with that. There is a bit of you can see the ring wear there. That is on the actual cover not on the outer sleeve. But apart from that, it still feels really solid. I don't think there's any seam splitting or anything, so that's really nice. It's just obviously wasn't kept in a cover for how many ever years, but yeah, the vinyl looks really nice and shiny. Yeah, but you can see here we've just got some of the Australian I think stuff down the bottom. There you go. Yeah, printed in Australia. It just doesn't give you a year, I don't think, on here. But I'll double check that. I'm pretty sure I thought it was 1972. Anyway, and yeah, with the Undisputed Truth early on, Norman Whitfield sort of production thing here, and pretty typically what he was doing early on with the Undisputed Truth was get them to do basically, well, I'll say covers or different versions of, really it was a lot of the songs he did with the Temptations, or he wrote with Barrett Strong and performed originally by the Temptations and recorded by them. So I'm not sure about the theory behind why he did that then, and these were like recorded near this time. It wasn't like 5-10 years later, This was within a year or two or whatever, quite early on. He was covering them and just sort of rearranging them, and they were slightly different. But that's still enough to get me going, because this is, funky vocal soul stuff. And the description here is saying, from Norman Whitfield himself, I see the fastest rising group in the recording industry. Well, obviously you do, because they're your production. But I see a perfect cross between Sly and the Fifth Dimension. Need I say more? Well, yeah, you could mention the fact that they're doing Temptation songs that you also produced, and you can see his name all over those. Wrote a lot of time with Barrett Strong. Anyway, so you can see the Friendship Train, Superstar, they were Temptation songs. And then we've also got the obligatory at that time cover version of Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. So that will add another version to the list of versions I own now. Many versions, but that's okay. They're going to cover a song. Might as well cover one I like, and it is a great song. But you can see there too, so we've got 3 singers there, and later I'm pretty sure they expanded to maybe 5 members. I don't know if they changed them, but I just know that originally, there was only 3, and then getting towards the mid-70s, they were sort of expanded. The really cool thing, though, I like about this one that I did notice is, look at that. They actually have, for a Motown LP, listed the performers, the musicians. And what a list of musicians we have. Funk Brothers galore. Look, Dennis Coffey. Dennis Coffey right at the front there. The top, I should say. But look at that. We've got Wawa Watson, as I was saying before. See? Playing on other people's stuff. Look at the drummers. 3 of the Funk Brothers. Damn. Joe Messina on guitar. Hey, look at this. We could go up. Look, Earl Van Dyke on piano. Damn. Organ, Johnny Griffith. Bass, James Jamerson. Jack Ashford doing, obviously, the percussion stuff there. And Bongo Brown. Eddie Bongo Brown. So, there is a Motown affair. But that is so great to see. They've listed them, eh? That's so great. Anyway, Undisputed Truth. And, let's move on. $12.50. Now, the next one, I'm not going to mess around too much with, because we're basically in the same vein here. We're going to go straight to Undisputed Truth again. A bit later, Law of the Land from 1975. I believe, yep. Saying it on there. And this one they wanted a little bit more for, $30 originally, so I got it for $15. So a whole $2.50 more once it was half price. So again, wow. Near mint, look at the condition. Looking fantastic. This again is an Australian pressing, but I don't care for 15. Not sure if this was originally a gatefold. This one is not, this version, but I kind of don't care. Slight little bend in there, hardly anything. The rest is really clean though. Look, the other one had a bit of ringwear and stuff, which is probably why it was a little bit cheaper. But yeah, this is a couple of years later. I'm not sure if they had expanded by this stage. I know that the next record they definitely had. I'm not sure if they had more singers on this one, or up to 4 or 5. But it's a very similar affair. It is a Norman Whitfield thing. By now, by 75, he had dispensed with the Temptations, or whichever way, vice versa. So these were his new darlings as such. Again, before he then took on Rolls Royce, probably the next year in 76. But Undisputed Truth kept going. And again, what he is doing here is taking Temptation songs, mostly, again, and rejigging them. And some other covers as well. So we've got Law of the Land, Papa Was the Rolling Stone. Yep, Temptations all over that. And then we've got Kill Me Softly, a version of that. Just My Imagination Running Away With Me, Temptations. Child Needs Its Father. I don't know if that was a Temptation, but I'm not sure. We've got Walk On By down the bottom. Hal Davis, Burt Bacharach, obviously. Dionne Warwick, I think, made that famous. We've got an almost obligatory Beatles song with a little help from my friends. We've got Al Green's Love and Happiness, which was big just a couple of years before, maybe a year or two. Yeah, and then another Norman Whitfield one there. I don't know, if, to be honest, if the Temptations did that. It is highly likely. But anyway, so look. Oh, and Feeling Alright, that was covered so many times. Was it Traffic, maybe? Yeah, Dave Mason. All right, so again, what they have done, which is really nice, this couple of years later, they've kept up the musician credits here, which is so cool. By this one, Mr. Coorparoo was off doing his own thing, but Joe Messina is still there. So is Wah Wah Watson. Yeah. And what else? Oh, the same drummers. But we've also got Uriel Jones as well, who was a funk brother as such. More from Van Dyke there, and Johnny Griffith on keys. This time bass is Bob Babbitt, who's no slouch. And again, we've got Jack Ashford and Eddie Bongo Brown on percussion, etc. So yeah, that's really, really nice to see. I'm sure we'll have some strings on here as well, I'm going to guess. With David Van De Pete, what's his name? De Pity or Oisey. He usually is in charge of strings and stuff on things. But anyway, look, Funky Soul, $15. Looks like lovely condition. Very good plus, by the way. Yeah. Yay, hey. Tick that one off the list. Alrighty. And lastly, well, this one was a bargain, but I actually didn't buy this with me in mind. I actually own this, but I saw it, and the condition and the price went, look, I've got to buy this, because I'm pretty sure a good friend of mine doesn't have this and couldn't be there on the day today to buy this. So I've sort of gone and bought it just in case he doesn't have this, because I've got a feeling he does want it. It's a really cool album. It is a reissue from 1999 of this LP from, I believe, 1972. So it's a nice gritty era of sort of funk and soul. And at half price, I couldn't pass it up. Anyway, so, and that is the Jimmy Castor bunch with It's Just Begun. Yeah, very cool classic stuff here. Look, I would say this is Jimmy Castor's best album. I've got a lot of his stuff. Yeah, every now and again he's got some really cool stuff, but I think this is his best album. He's got some nice gritty stuff. He's got his own signature thing happening that he does, and his kookiness and his humour. But there's some really nice soul funky goodness on here, and some nice raw instrumentation stuff. So if you see this, it looks like schmickety schmick. Look at that. It's actually very vivid, and that's even in the sleeve, which I'll just take off in a second. But you can see that it was at $35 US. So half price at very good plus condition, $17.50 Australian. Let's take it out of the plastic just so you can see, because this is in schmickety schmick reissue condition. Look at that. And in fact, that cover looks quite vivid. So that reproduction is not too bad for 1972. The original LP being reproduced. Yeah, that's quite nice. Yeah, like no splitting and stuff. Pretty rock solid. I think I saw one slight little blemish there, and maybe down the bottom. I don't know if that's actual ring wear or that's like reproduction ring wear. Not much, but a bit of scuff. And back, it's pretty much the same affair. There's this tiny little bit of speckling that either is from wear or maybe they left it in when they reproduced. I can't remember. But yeah, Spanky for $17.50. Some cool songs on here. Yeah, absolutely. But as I said, you've got to take a bit of Jimmy Castor with a grain of salt with his kookiness sometimes, like on Troglodyte. But it is a cool kooky song and funky. Creation is the opening, but It's Just Begun is the killer song. Yeah. It's saying down here, let's see, yeah, 1972 there originally. They've kept interesting enough, they've kept the Dynaflex branding and spiel there. This is not a Dynaflex record. It's not the thin stuff. This is feeling solid. So I think they just kept that on for prosperity, so OG looking, but it's not Dynaflex, this reissue. So yeah, that's the only misnomer there, but it's okay. Yeah, anyway, so really cool here. By the way, Jerry Thomas has links to, I believe, is it Fatback Band? Potentially. Yeah. Just as a side note there. Yeah, $17.50. So great value. And Danny, if you don't have this, well, it can be yours. Anyway, people, that was the last one. That was a very good haul. Very unexpected haul. Unexpected half-price dealings. But it made it all the sweeter. And yeah, hope you got something out of that. I'll see you later.